Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. I hear stories making rounds beyond the continent. We begin the news in Asia, where a dangerous new flashpoint in Southeast Asia, fighting has erupted between Thailand and Cambodia with airstrikes, rocket fire and rising civilian casualties. As international alarm grows, both sides are pointing fingers and the UN Security Council has now been asked to step in. For News Central, international correspondent Afia Hagen has more.
What began as a decades-old border dispute has exploded into open conflict. Thai military launched airstrikes on Cambodian targets after accusing Cambodian forces of firing rockets into Thai territory, killing a civilian and injuring 3 others, including a young child. Thai F-16s were scrambled from Ubon province, hitting 2 military positions in Cambodia. It was a direct response to artillery and rocket fire Cambodia launched earlier in the day. At the heart of the violence, the long-disputed Emerald Triangle, where Thailand, Cambodia and Laos meet. The area, rich in ancient temples and national pride, has seen flare-ups before. But this is the worst fighting in over a decade. Thailand has now sealed all border crossings with Cambodia and urged its citizens to evacuate. The Foreign Ministry called Cambodia's actions inhumane, brutal and war-hungry. Cambodia, meanwhile, accused Thailand of violating its sovereignty and claims it was acting in self-defense. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet has requested an emergency UN Security Council meeting, calling Thailand's actions unprovoked military aggression. Diplomatic ties have hit rock bottom. Both countries have expelled each other's ambassadors and downgraded relations. Thailand's acting Prime Minister Wachayachai called for calm but insisted Thailand will defend its sovereignty. The Thai army says the violence began when Cambodian troops approached a Thai post near the historic Tamawen Temple. One was allegedly carrying a rocket-propelled grenade. The violence comes just hours after 5 Thai soldiers were wounded by a landmine. Thailand claims the mines were newly planted by Cambodian forces, a charge Cambodia denies. China has now warned its citizens in Cambodia to avoid border areas. Thailand's embassy in Phnom Penh is also urging nationals to leave unless absolutely necessary. With civilians caught in the crossfire, international pressure is mounting for both sides to stand down. But with diplomatic ties fraying and troops still mobilized, the region remains on edge. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagen.
In the same vein, acting Prime Minister Phumtham Wechayachai has condemned Cambodia's use of heavy weaponry. Wechayachai also defended the Thai airstrikes launched on Cambodian military positions, describing the escalation as just a conflict. Thailand and Cambodia fought their bloodiest military clashes in more than a decade on Thursday, with at least 12 people killed as the two sides battled with tanks, artillery and ground forces over a disputed border zone. Now, the fighting marks a dramatic escalation in a long-running spat over an area known as the Emerald Triangle, where the borders of both countries and Laos meet.
นะครับอันนี้เราประณามว่ามีการใช้อาวุธหนักที่รุนแรงไม่มีเป้าหมายนะครับแล้วไม่ได้จำกัดเฉพาะเขตการต่อสู้นะครับเป็นการยิงเข้ามาแล้วก็กิโลเมตรนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเรื่องนี้เราขอประณามเพราะเป็นการใช้กำลังแล้วก็ดำเนินการบนไม่ได้ยึดกลุ่มในเรื่องของกฎหมายระหว่างประเทศนะครับที่ต้องคำนึงถึงและต้องปฏิบัติที่เคร่งครัดนะครับอีกประการหนึ่งก็ถือว่าสิ่งต่างๆที่เกิดขึ้นเนี่ยยังไม่ใช่ประกาศสงครามนะครับเราไม่ได้ประกาศสงครามแต่เป็นเรื่องแค่การปะทะกันซึ่งก็จะต้องใช้เรายังยืนยันหลักการว่าต้องใช้สันติวิธีไม่ใช้ความรุนแรงแล้วก็ต้องพยายามพูดคุยกันในการแก้ไขปัญหาแต่ว่าสิ่งที่เกิดแล้วเราป้องกันตัวเราเองกับป้องกันอธิปไตยของประเทศนะครับอันนี้เป็นหัวใจสำคัญและเรายอมไม่ได้ที่จะมีลักษณะที่จะบุกรุกหรือในการที่จะละเมิดอธิปไตย
Joining us on the news to discuss this is a political analyst from Bellcrest Institute, Joy John. She joins from Washington, D.C. Thank you for joining us, Joy.
Me.
All right, Joy, speak to us on the reasons behind the recent escalation in violence between Thailand and Cambodia.
This is a long-running dispute. It's been an issue that has been existent for several years. What makes this moment different is the heightened escalation here. Now, at the center of it all is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and several nearby sites in that vicinity that both countries claim as their own. Tensions over this border have flared, like I said, over several years, but this is the most serious confrontation that they've witnessed in a decade. And I think beneath it all, we're looking at also internal political pressure between both countries. There have been talks between the prime minister and the de facto leader in Cambodia, which leaked. And the fallout has outraged violent citizens here. We heard the prime minister talk down on her own military, and that outraged the public there in Thailand. So it's a lot of political pressure here at play.
Well, now, but how have the recent military attacks, including the impacts on villages and hospitals, affected civilians living in the border areas?
It's been devastating. We have seen a dozen deaths at least reported, most of them civilians, and scores injured. Villages almost emptied with the families displaced. Hospitals are hit by the attacks. So it's been devastating. We don't even know, or the families there don't even know when they were likely to return to their homes.
All right. Now,
and there's also a clause, of course, for safety.
Okay, Joy. What about the recent diplomatic actions? What do they mean for the future of peace talks between, the two countries?
What they mean for the two countries, there's always room for diplomacy to play out. There's always a little window somehow, even though both Cambodia and Thailand don't see eye to eye over this same issue, but I will still leave a small window. This whole thing is definitely a setback because when one country shuts its borders and another one sends their ambassador packing, it's not just tension, it's a complete breakdown. So right now, I think even though it seems that formal talks seem out of reach, I wouldn't rule out diplomacy here.
All right, so but what are the most likely outcomes, in the coming weeks? Fighting, a ceasefire, or something else?
Well, we know that China and Malaysia have reached out. They are stepping in, calling for calm. We don't know how it will play out. These are two countries that are, asking both leaders of both nations to call for calm. But let's be honest. This, like I said, this dispute has lingered for several years, and it will take more than just this. It's also gone to the International Court of Justice, and it has not. It has not gone well. Either way, they have refused to comply. Thailand has refused to comply because the International Court of Justice had said that land in dispute belonged to Cambodia, but Thailand wasn't having any of that. So it's a lot of politics, diplomacy at play here. So in the next few weeks, possibly days, we'll see how it plays out and see what roles China and Malaysia and to what extent they will intervene with this.
All right, Joy, we'll definitely see. Thank you so much for your time and for speaking on this.
Thanks for having me.
Moving on, the United Nations warns that aid reaching Gaza is only a trickle, calling the hunger crisis the most dire ever seen. Now, since October 2023, malnutrition has claimed 113 lives, with 2 more deaths reported in the last 24 hours. Over 100 international aid groups accuse Israel of a siege causing mass starvation, while Israel says the UN has collected 150 food trucks inside Gaza and 800 more await clearance. Aid workers report Israeli obstructions with 6,000 trucks worth of aid waiting to enter. Now, journalists in Gaza also face starvation, sharing the same dire conditions as the people that they cover. A doctor in Gaza describes the situation as mass starvation, saying that Palestinians are not close to famine, they are living it. Now joining us on the news to discuss this is a geopolitical analyst, Yemi Fajemisin. He joins from Glasgow, UK. Thank you so much, Yemi, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Now, speak to us on factors driving the worsening humanitarian crisis and also severe food security in Gaza, or insecurity, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, the factor itself is the state of Israel. And in order to understand the context, I think it's important to also understand the genesis of the whole issue. And I think the genesis itself, the origin started from when Hamas launched a terrorist attack on the 7th of October 2023 against the Israelis, where grandmothers were kidnapped, women were raped. And a lot of people had support for Israel then, because Israel then carried out military action against the Hamas to degrade their leadership and to totally destroy the group. So that went on for quite a while, but it got to a point where the response from Israel became very disproportionate, leading to deaths of over 50,000 civilians, including children and women. And we're saying that Israel is controlling about 90% of almost the whole of Gaza Strip. And at the moment, we're seeing a blockade against food supplies, water. We're seeing bombings of hospitals. I mean, we've seen testimonies of doctors, nurses, and aid workers being killed. Journalists are not allowed to actually go in and report on the whole situation. So the state of Israel, I would say, is they are the one responsible for this mass starvation that we're beginning to see. And the whole thing is beginning to become a national disgrace to Israel as.
Okay, but then how effective have international aid efforts, been amidst reports of these Israeli restrictions and the ongoing violence?
Yeah, I think the aid efforts has been well coordinated. As you reported, that as of today we have 6,000 trucks waiting to deliver food supplies and water supply. But the issue we have there is for aid to properly work, it needs to go in cooperation with the state of Israel. So they are the one doing the blockade. They decide who goes in and who comes out. So for the aid to really reach to the Palestinian people, it needs to be done by the people on ground itself, which are the people controlling the strip, which is the IDF. So because the IDF itself is doing, they drip feeding. That's what they're doing now. So they're allowing some aid, but it's not enough. And they drip feeding the population. But the aid agencies are coordinated, they're on standby. What they're waiting for is just to get a clearance to actually go in, work with the IDF and deliver aid to the people. And that's not been happening, and that's unfortunate.
All right, but what are the implications of, this violence, on the Gaza civilian population themselves? Because as the reports say, they're living in famine at the moment.
Yeah, it's a dire situation. The short-term problems we have now, I mean, we've got many experts even labeling the whole thing as a genocide. We've got people that are experts in genocide. They've written a lot of articles, a lot of theory they've studied on genocide. They're actually coming forward to say, this is beginning to look like a genocide now. So on the short term, we're seeing mass starvation of kids. In July alone, about almost 5,000 kids are between life and death starving just in the month of July so far for this month alone. So that's quite a lot of heartbreaking statistics there.
Absolutely.
On the long term, we should also discuss the long term as well. I mean, after the war, we're going to be looking at people that are traumatized, people that maybe will be living with severe mental health problems, people that have lost a lot of loved ones, and it begs the question as to, is this going to be the end of the war? Because if in the long run people are traumatized, we could be seeing in the future kids become radicalized. And what we need to also understand in this context as well is Israel is already degraded Hamas. Most of its leaders has been killed. Israel has also degraded Iran, which supports Hamas quite a lot. So you begin to ask questions as to, does it even make a military sense now? What's going on? We no longer have Hamas in full operation. Iran has been degraded. So to me, it doesn't make any military sense as to what Israel is doing in the Strip at the moment.
Yes, another question is if diplomatic efforts or international efforts will even work at this time. But thank you so much, Yemi, for your time and for speaking on this as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now take a short break. When we return, we'll tell you that Russia's President Putin holds moment of silence for deadly plane crash. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now, a massive wildfire killed 2 people as it ripped through forests outside Cyprus's second city of Limassol, fanned by strong winds and temperatures forecast to reach 44 centigrade. Police said 2 charred bodies were found in a burnt-out car, believed to have been caught up in the blaze that erupted on Wednesday afternoon. Government spokesman Konstantinos Letimbiotis said that the cause of the blaze was still under investigation, but high temperatures, strong winds, and drought made the situation even more difficult. Let's head to Europe, where in Russia, far eastern Amur region, a passenger plane carrying nearly 50 people crashed on Thursday, killing everyone on board. The Soviet-era Antonov, a 24-year-old aircraft operated by Angara Airlines, was en route from Blagoveshchensk to the town of Tinder when it disappeared from radar around 1 p.m. local time. Rescue teams later located the wreckage on a forested mountainside approximately 15 kilometers south of Tinder's airport. Now, Russian authorities confirmed there were no survivors. Among the passengers were children and at least 1 Chinese national. In response, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a moment of silence and expressed his condolences to the families of the victims.
Сегодня в Амурской области произошло крушение гражданского воздушного судна. Десятки человек погибли. И я хочу выразить слова искреннего сочувствия и соболезнования родным, близким, всем семьям погибших в этой авиакатастрофе.
Let's also tell you that Prime Minister Keir Starmer has praised Britain's unique bonds with India as he and Prime Minister Narendra Modi formally signed a recently announced UK-India trade deal. Starmer hailed the agreement as a landmark moment for both countries as he hosted India's leader at his Chequers country estate northwest of London. Starmer and Modi announced in May they had struck a free trade agreement that the British government says will eventually add 4.8 billion pounds a year to the UK economy. Now, the UK and India hope the accord will boost trade between the two countries by 25.5 billion pounds, as well as bolstering the British economy and wages. During the 25th EU-China summit in Beijing, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen met with Chinese Premier Li Jing alongside European Council President Antonio Costa. Von der Leyen warned that China's close ties with Russia, particularly amid the ongoing Ukraine conflict, have become the determining factor in its relations with the EU. The summit, marking 50 years of diplomatic ties, was tense, highlighting deep challenges such as trade imbalances and geopolitical frictions. Despite strain, China agreed to speed up exports of rare earth minerals vital to EU's industries. Both sides discussed the need for recalibrating their partnership amid global uncertainties, but underlying issues, especially over China's support for Russia, remained significant obstacles to closer EU-China cooperation.
Domestic challenges cannot be the offload of surplus products onto global market, the European market. This is actually a reason why Europe had launched an investigation into electric vehicles. But we need a genuine rebalancing in this area to make progress in our partnership.
这个问题我们也看得到，但中国绝不是所谓的政策补贴财政补贴给它补出来。中国也没有欧洲这么有钱，我们也补不起，我们也不会傻乎乎的把我们的产品通过中国政府好不容易老百姓积累的财政资金补下来卖给国外的老百姓去消费，不会这样。当然，这个如果要拉开来讨论，那就会很多问题。
Well, that's all on Beyond the Continent. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.